In her eyes, it was called freedom. In his, it was betrayal. But that was only the beginning. Behind the mask of conscious choices hid far dirtier motives, and beneath the talk of trust, an affair carefully concealed. She had support. They came with lectures, reproaches, accusations. But he didn't break. He watched. He waited. He listened. While she lost herself in someone else's arms, he reclaimed control, step by step. And when the blow finally landed, she felt, for the first time, what the true cost really was. Career, relationship, reputation, it all crumbled. And him? He just walked away. Not with anger, with cold certainty. Because sometimes silence isn't weakness. It's a verdict. Hello, my friend. I'm so glad you stopped by my channel. If you're here for the first time, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends or family. It really helps my channel a lot. Please tell me in which city or country you watch this video. I value every one of your comments. So, let's get started. Never in my wildest thoughts did I think Hazel, my wife of 10 years, would be the one to suggest opening up our marriage. We had created something meaningful together. She was thriving in her marketing role, and I was finally gaining recognition as a comic book illustrator. Our love, I believed, was passionate, steady, and profoundly genuine. Then came a night that changed everything. Hazel came home from work carrying a strange energy. There was a tension about her, something unsettled beneath the surface. During dinner, she paused mid-bite, exhaled heavily, and said, "Alec, I've been wondering, what if we tried being in an open relationship?" The clink of my fork hitting the plate echoed unnaturally loud. I blinked in disbelief, caught completely unprepared. "What? Where is this coming from?" "I miss the excitement," she said, her voice steady. "That feeling of being wanted, chased." My chest tightened. "You'd risk everything we've built, just to feel a spark?" "You're overreacting," she said with a dismissive wave. "I'm not ending our marriage. I'm just suggesting we explore something different. You'd be free to see other people too." I shook my head slowly, stunned. "You're really serious? All of this because you crave some kind of thrill?" She expanded on her feelings. She said she missed feeling attractive, desired, affirmed. That meeting new men, embracing a sense of independence, gave her a feeling she hadn't had in years. She argued that love, true love, should withstand change, that I should trust her enough to let her explore. "If you believe in us," she said softly, "you'll see this doesn't have to be a threat." I stared at her, struggling to comprehend what I was hearing. Was this really the woman I had built my life with? "You know," I said after a moment, "I've watched plenty of videos about women bringing this up. In almost all of them, the wife already has someone waiting in the wings." At that, something flickered in her expression, so brief, but unmistakable. A chill swept through me. I locked eyes with her and let the silence stretch. "So who is he, Hazel?" I asked. "What's his name?" "There's no one," she replied sharply, her voice rising. "Alec, how can you even accuse me of that?" "Then why are you suddenly so eager to sleep with other men?" I snapped. She kept denying there was anyone specific, but still pushed the idea like it was some enlightened evolution of marriage. I had heard more than enough. "My answer is no," I said firmly. "And frankly, you just gave me a reason to consider divorce." I recalled the countless forum posts, the warnings, the cautionary tales. The message was always blunt and clear. If your wife asks to open the marriage, it's already over. I looked at her, my face heavy with betrayal. This was the boundary. Her face fell. "Alec, don't. Please. That's not what I meant. I don't want to lose you. I love you." Her voice shook. "I was just curious." I stood up, no longer hungry. I took my untouched plate, scraped the food into the trash, tossed the dishes into the sink. Grabbing my keys and jacket, I left, leaving her motionless at the table, eyes wide, stunned. In the days that followed, she barely spoke. The bold, confident woman who had pitched the open relationship with TED Talk conviction had all but vanished. Part of me wondered, hoped, that maybe my reaction had given her pause. That hope didn't last. One night, she stepped into the living room, stopping in the doorway. Her expression was conflicted, tinged with guilt. "Alec," she said, "I've been doing more reading, on polyamory, on different relationship dynamics. I honestly believe this could work for us." I remained silent. She sat down across from me, fingers laced tightly together, knuckles white. "I want to be completely honest now," she said. "No more hiding. You deserve that." I gave a small nod. "I'm listening." She took a deep breath, as if preparing for impact. "There's a guy I work with. His name's Jasper." I said nothing, just waited. "We've been spending time together," she confessed. I echoed her words flatly, each syllable cold and deliberate. "Spending time?" She gave a reluctant nod, her eyes refusing to meet mine. "It's not just physical, Alec. He makes me feel alive again, like I'm seen, like I matter." I looked at her, the woman I had devoted a decade of my life to, and saw someone I no longer recognized. "So you're finally admitting there's something between you two?" A dry, bitter laugh escaped me, sharp as broken glass. "So that's the real reason we're having this talk?" I asked, sarcasm dripping from every word. "You're asking for an open marriage just to justify your affair?" "That's not what I'm saying," she fired back, her voice taut with defense, slicing through the heavy air. "I'm being truthful, like I promised I would. I don't want to lose you. I still love you. I just thought, maybe we could navigate this together. Open marriages. They're progressive, Alec. They're about honesty, exploration, not betrayal or pain." "Progressive," I echoed, my mouth twisting as if the word tasted like poison. "So now cheating is just a lifestyle choice? Betrayal's had a makeover and it's suddenly trendy?" "You're twisting everything," Hazel snapped, eyes flashing. "You refuse to consider anything outside your narrow worldview. You cling to convention like it's holy scripture. I feel suffocated by that. And yes," her voice cracked with both confession and accusation, "I resent it." I stood, chair scraping backward, legs charged with restless tension. "You resent that I respected our vows? That I held up my end while you slipped away? That I trusted you enough to think we were in this together?" "I resent that you won't evolve," she said, rising to meet me at eye level. "Marriage doesn't need to be a prison sentence. I want more. I want to feel something again. And Jasper gives me that." A hollow, mirthless chuckle tore from me. "And what exactly do I get in this brave new version of our relationship? The privilege of being sidelined while you sleep with your coworker? Funny how every argument you've made so far only serves you." She winced, barely, but I saw it. A flicker of guilt crossed her face like a shadow. It was clear she hadn't even considered what this arrangement meant for me. "Well, you could see other people too, if that's something you'd want," she offered hesitantly, her certainty faltering. Another dry laugh escaped me. "Of course." "How generous. You turn our marriage into a one-sided deal, and now I'm supposed to balance the scales by dating strangers. I don't want someone else, Hazel. I wanted you, the woman I stood beside at the altar. But she's gone, isn't she?" For a moment, her armor cracked. I saw remorse flicker in her features, but only briefly. Then she straightened, resolve hardening again. "I won't apologize for wanting more," she said, voice flat but firm. "If you can't accept that, maybe we really are done." Her words dropped like weights in the space between us, final, irrevocable. But strangely, the tension in the room shifted. The air grew lighter, the pressure easing, not relief exactly, but clarity. I looked at her, this woman wearing my wife's face, and grief surged through me like a riptide, dragging heartbreak and anger in its wake. "You're right," I said softly. barely above a whisper. This isn't going to work. I let the silence sit before continuing. I'll contact a lawyer in the morning. We'll start the divorce. The days after blurred into a haze of silence and cardboard boxes. I relocated to the guest room, thinking the worst had passed. But Hazel wasn't finished. Not yet. She brought in reinforcements, her mother Isla, her sister Aubrey, and her ever-loyal friends Helena and Amelia. One afternoon, as I sat at the kitchen table, half watching mindless YouTube videos and eating a cold burger, they descended like a coordinated strike, clearly rehearsed. Isla led the charge, sliding gracefully into the chair across from mine. "Alec, darling, we need to talk," she said gently, though every word was weighted. I exhaled slowly, pushed my plate aside, and crossed my arms. Everything about the moment screamed, intervention. Hazel flanked her mother, while the rest stood like a moral jury. "Alec," Isla tried again, calm but insistent. "Please just listen with an open heart. Relationships don't have to be limiting. Ethical non-monogamy can be transformative for both partners." I raised an eyebrow. Transformative? That's what we're calling betrayal now? Aubrey rolled her eyes. "Oh, for God's sake, Alec. This isn't betrayal. It's truth. Hazel had the guts to be honest about what she needs. Most women would just bury it until it ruins everything." "So now it's bravery?" I asked coldly. "Having an affair and slapping a trendy label on it counts as heroism?" "She made mistakes," Amelia chimed in, voice trying to smooth things over. "But she's inviting you into the conversation. That's what makes it ethical. Communication, transparency, mutual agreement. You just need to let go of your control issues." Control issues? My voice rose, the anger finally breaking free. "You mean refusing to let my wife turn our marriage into some kind of open-ended drama so she can feel wanted again? I guess I've got some baggage about it," I confessed, the admission leaving a sour taste in my mouth. "That's exactly the issue," Amelia snapped, her voice sharp as she leaned forward and rested a hand on the back of Hazel's chair. Her eyes bored into mine, unwavering. "You're terrified of anything new. You're clinging to some outdated fairy tale version of marriage because the thought of losing to someone like Jasper scares the hell out of you." "You look pathetic, Alec," she added, her tone turning ice cold. "And it's not a good look." My teeth ground together as my fists clenched in my lap. "I couldn't care less about Jasper," I shot back. "But yeah, fine. I'll admit it. I've got insecurities." "No, it's deeper than that," she pressed on, voice rising. "You're hiding behind these so-called values of yours, when really, it's fear. You know deep down that you couldn't give Hazel what she needed. And now she's found it elsewhere." "Amelia, enough!" Hazel snapped under her breath, her glare sharp and filled with warning. But the damage was already done. I let out a humorless laugh, harsh and hollow. "So this is what it is? Some intervention where you all pile on and expect me to take it? No thanks." I jabbed my finger toward the table. "I'm finished. With her, with him, and with this entire charade." "This marriage? It's already over," I said, throwing my arms up. "And yeah, it does come back to my values. You don't enter a marriage with someone who's clearly committed to monogamy, only to spring a total rewrite of the rules later. That's not just dishonest. It's a complete betrayal of what I stand for." Someone tried to respond, but I held up a hand. "Save it. Call it progressive, call it enlightened, slap whatever buzzword on it you want. But don't forget this. Trust was broken. Hazel shattered that trust the moment she decided to sleep with someone else without telling me." Hazel finally spoke, her voice softer than I expected. "I know I messed up, Alec. I do. But I'm trying to fix it. I believe we can grow through this, if you'd stop hiding behind that iron wall of pride and rigid beliefs." "Grow?" I barked out a bitter laugh. "You think opening up our relationship is going to fix it? That's absolutely insane." "It's not insane," Aubrey interjected, her irritation bleeding through. "Polyfidelity is a legitimate structure. It's about forming deep, intentional relationships with multiple partners, all with mutual respect and clear boundaries. If you weren't so busy defending your pride, you might actually learn something. It's not just about intimacy, she continued firmly. Oh, let's not dance around it, I cut in. It's just a permission slip to cheat without remorse. That's what this is. Helena groaned and rolled her eyes. You're so stuck in your own narrow view. If you could just let go of your toxic jealousy, maybe you'd see there's freedom in this kind of honesty. Hazel's being open with you. She wants to rebuild. But you're too afraid to step outside your emotional fortress, too scared to be anyone but the version of yourself you've always known. I'm not afraid, I said, standing slowly, my voice steady. I have principles. I believe in commitment, in loyalty, in keeping the vows we swore to each other. I believe in monogamy. If that makes me some old-fashioned relic, then fine, I'll wear that label. But don't stand there and tell me I'm wrong for wanting a marriage that actually means something. Amelia crossed her arms, her expression full of contempt. You're so tangled up in fragile masculinity that you can't even see what's right in front of you, a chance to grow into something better. You're dragging Hazel down with you because your ego can't handle the idea of someone else satisfying her. I stared at her, my voice like steel. Dragging her down? No. If she wants to walk away, chase after Jasper or whoever else, then she can go. She broke the promise. She betrayed what we had. She chose this path, and now she wants to spin the story to make me the villain, and all of you are backing her. I pointed toward the door. Take your modern-day gospel somewhere else. I've heard enough. I said get out, I added, firm and final. Hazel's face turned red. She crossed her arms and leaned back, her eyes stormy. I'm not some random girl off the street, Alec. You don't get to reduce me to that just because you're hurt. I'm still your wife. I laughed dryly. Not anymore, you're not. Shock passed over her face. I haven't signed anything yet. You will, I said. Soon enough. You're impossible, she hissed. So caught up in your own narrative that you'd rather burn everything down than even consider another point of view. The room fell into a heavy silence, thick with everything left unsaid. Their stares followed me, but no one dared speak. They finally saw it. This ambush had failed. I grabbed my coat and walked out without a backward glance. Alec's viewpoint. I'll let my lawyer handle things from here. Good luck with your so-called empowerment. You'll need it. With that final jab, I turned and walked away, leaving them stunned and speechless behind me. Even after that last explosive encounter, I didn't immediately move forward with the divorce. That delay, of course, gave Hazel false hope. She assumed my silence meant reconsideration, and her circle of supporters wasted no time trying to pull me back in. They read my patience as hesitation. But I wasn't second-guessing. I was waiting. I'd hired a private investigator, and I needed concrete evidence before taking my next step. If she tried to twist the story once the legal process began, I wanted proof she couldn't deny. She became more discreet after our major argument, the one triggered by her suggestion to open the marriage. She distanced herself from Jasper, at least outwardly. But staying apart isn't the same as staying faithful, and eventually, her self-control unraveled. She slipped up, and this time there was no ambiguity. No way to argue or deflect. The photos, the videos, they spoke for themselves. My anger flared, but I didn't let it consume me like before. I redirected it into things that mattered, into passions I had set aside. Still, the truth was unchangeable. The woman I had married, the partner I once believed in, no longer existed. She had become a stranger, parroting ideas about freedom while sneaking around with a coworker, a deceiver, a manipulator. When the investigator handed me the final report, I acted without pause. I filed for divorce. It was the only way to salvage my emotional well-being, to take back control. She'd crossed a boundary we couldn't return from, and no, I didn't exit quietly. It's possible that I anonymously sent those findings to her employer, just a small reminder that choices have consequences. If you're paying attention, here's what I learned. Never compromise your core values for someone else's fleeting ideology. Stay true to your convictions, especially when they matter most. But that's a conversation for another day. Hazel's viewpoint. Hi, I'm Hazel. You probably don't think much of me right now, and I get it, but I wanted to share a few thoughts. Maybe offer some perspective. Back then, I never truly believed Alec would go through with it. He'd threatened divorce before, especially after that big fight involving my mother, sister, and some close friends. But each time, he stayed. So, I convinced myself he didn't mean it. That we'd argue, calm down, and eventually fix what had broken between us. Then, the divorce papers arrived. That's when I realized, this time, it was real. But the fallout didn't stop there. Just 2 weeks after I signed the documents, I got called into HR. Jasper was already sitting there, pale, silent, avoiding my eyes. I knew immediately something was wrong. The HR rep didn't mince words. A formal complaint had been submitted, backed by undeniable proof, surveillance videos, photographs, message logs, even private texts. Someone had pieced everything together with precision. That someone could only have been Alec. I tried to spin it, tried to minimize the situation. I even framed it as if I'd been misled or manipulated, hoping to gain sympathy. I threw Jasper under the bus, thinking I could shield myself. But it was too late. The company had a strict zero-tolerance policy. And I'd never reported any kind of misconduct. The evidence clearly showed I had been a willing participant. There was no ambiguity. All that talk about solidarity and empowerment, it didn't save me. By the end of that week, Jasper and I were both out of jobs. And yes, I felt guilty, especially for how I tried to shift blame onto him just to save myself. But losing the job wasn't the worst part. What hurt more was when Jasper ended things. He sat me down and said he couldn't handle the backlash, the whispers, the shame. He called it betrayal. It echoed something Alec once said. And he wasn't wrong. I had betrayed him too, just like I betrayed Alec. When push came to shove, I threw him under to keep my own head above water. If he had stayed, I wouldn't have respected him. I would have seen him as weak, someone I could lean on until something more exciting came along. I know that sounds harsh. But at the time, that's exactly where my mind was. After Jasper left my life as suddenly as he entered it, I tried to move on. But every new relationship I attempted fell apart. Some men were scared off by my past. Others just wanted something superficial. Nobody wanted to build something real with a woman who'd blown up her marriage and career in a moment of reckless self-interest. Late at night, when the silence grew unbearable, my thoughts always drifted back to Alec, to the life we built, to the love we shared. He wasn't perfect, but he gave me everything he had, and I destroyed it. For what? A thrill? A misguided idea of freedom that left me more alone than I'd ever been? Eventually, I heard that Alec was doing well, painting again, meeting someone new, finding peace, and he deserves every bit of that happiness. I know I'm not part of that chapter, and I have no one to blame but myself. The person who ruined our marriage wasn't the real me, or at least not the version I want to be. But the damage was done. The consequences were real, and the guilt is mine to bear. So, if anyone's listening, especially the women out there, please hear me. That freedom you're chasing may cost more than you're willing to pay. Real relationships require work, sacrifice, honesty. If you have someone good beside you, don't gamble it all away. Don't entertain the idea of open relationships unless you're ready to risk losing everything. Because once trust is broken, it's gone, and you don't get a second chance. This story has come to an end. What's your opinion? Share it in the comments, my friend. And if you like this story, check out other exciting videos on my channel. I'll say goodbye until the next video. See you.